Hello and welcome to Nick Talks. Have you ever wondered why the left always talk about racism? It's as if they don't have any secrets themselves. We all know that's not true. Let me read you this article. The racist left. When will their statues fall? Most people are uneducated fools. I include myself in this category. I had a 1980s state education. We know so little that we rely on others to inform us of what we need to know. To tell us what the truth is, what happened in the past, and what is the correct opinion to hold today. You rarely hear anyone say that they do not understand a topic or cannot comment on an issue due to not knowing enough. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. Most people who call themselves socialists have virtually no knowledge of this political movement, except for the belief about sharing the wealth of a nation with everyone and feeling amazing about it. For the many, not the few. So why are so many socialists rich? Try to figure that one out. Why do they not know about the great evils committed by self-proclaimed socialists from the last century? Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot. Let us not forget that both Hitler and Mussolini were socialists, national socialists. Do not believe me? I have written articles on both men and explored their socialist views and aims. I have explained several times why socialism is still popular and will not go away, even though we have 100 million corpses to say it does not work. The compunction to help others less fortunate than ourselves comes from our history of living in small tribes where nearly everyone was related and everyone shared the same genes. We help each other knowing the act would be returned if needed. We fostered social harmony because everything outside of the tribe wanted to kill us. What works on a micro scale does not always work on a macro scale. In case you are not aware, racism is bad. I have checked this out and all the sources I found confirm this opinion. Racism is bad. But when it comes to specific races, not all are bad. Again, I checked this out, and the obvious hypocrisy is allowed under some EU directive, I presume. Recently, we have removed or pulled down statues of individuals who owned slaves, made money from slavery, knew someone who had a slave, or once saw a slave from a distance. When I say slave, I of course mean only black slaves from the transatlantic slave trade. All other slaves in history have been rejected, or not worth knowing about. So when will the outraged mob come for the socialist racists? Socialism is not about race, it's about being pink and fluffy. Let us have a deeper look. Karl Marx is credited with founding the modern socialism movement. He published his famous The Communist Manifesto pamphlet in 1848 and later published his 3 volumes of Das Kapital. The last 2 volumes were edited and published after his death. After the annexation of California by the United States and Mexico, Marx wrote, "It is a misfortune that magnificent California was seized from the lazy Mexicans who did not know what to do with it." This sounds a bit racist to me. Imagine if someone else had said the same thing. Marx was also not so pleasant when it came to the Jews. In 1844 he published an essay titled On the Jewish Question. He wrote that the religion of the Jews was huckstering and that the Jews' God was money. It all sounds a little bit like the ramblings of Hitler to me. Not surprising once you realise that Hitler was a socialist. Marx also said that the classes and the races, too weak to master the new conditions of life, must give way. Was he offering his own final solution? Marx Engels was Marx's partner in crime. Socialism is a crime. He co-wrote the Communist Manifesto with Marx and edited the last 2 volumes of Das Kapital. Engels sent a letter in 1887 to the daughter of Marx, whose husband was standing for a council seat in a Paris district that contained a zoo. He wrote, referring to her husband, "Being his qualities a nigger, a degree nearer to the rest of the animal kingdom than the rest of us, he is undoubtedly the appropriate representative of that district. Once again, sounds a bit racist to me. A superhero of the left is the charismatic Che Guevara. He can be seen on a million t-shirts. Even I had one, a present from my mum. I also have 2 small Che pictures in my home as mementos from my visit to Cuba. He wrote in his 1952 memoir, The Motorcycle Diaries, "The Negro is indolent and lazy and spends his money on frivolities, whereas the European is forward-looking, organised and intelligent." Che was also a massive homophobe, which is well documented. Have I uncovered this lost information from a secret depository? No, of course not. None of this is a secret. These individuals wrote their views and put them into print for the world to read. They were happy with their views. The mystery is that we have decided not to discuss these obvious issues, for they conflict with the image socialists are trying to portray today: compassionate, tolerant, diverse. A lie with good PR is still a lie. Let us start to hold socialists to account for their reprehensible history, former leaders and current icons. I should, but will not, organise a statue pulling down event in Manchester city centre. Across the road from my flat is a statue at Marx and Engels on First Street, opposite the trendy Home Theatre. If any statue deserves to be removed for crimes against humanity, then this man is in the top 3 contenders. If Cecil Rhodes is a problem, then Engels is. If Abraham Lincoln is a problem, then Engels is. If Winston Churchill is a problem, then Engels is. The real problem we face is our lack of education, lack of knowledge, and a lack of desire to understand more.